A video that has sparked public fear and outrage shows a herder openly wielding a gun in broad daylight while leading a herd of cattle. The incident reportedly took place in Dawanu. Well, let's take a look. All right, that was a very short clip of that man. I'm sure you saw that man, Ayo, wielding that gun. And you know, we haven't heard from the governor of the state, Abba Yusuf, on this incident, or the Kano State Police Command on whether this individual has been apprehended. Users on social media have expressed concern about public safety, given, you know, the business and the surrounding area, and, you know, also questioning the fact that, you know, this man, does he have a right to carry a gun? And this is a story that I saw even yesterday. We took the American story about this young man saying these people that are perpetrating the crime in Yelwata, and this was his actual confession, saying that his statement, not confession, his statement saying that they were Fulani herders. And these are the sort of conversations that we need to begin to have, where we see people wielding guns. Herders, they're supposed to have sticks, not guns, Ayo, not guns. I want to tie this story in as well. I'd like for you to discuss both. Also in Kano State, well, the Emir of Kano, Mohammed Sanusi II, is calling out the government, stating that the persistent high rate of child marriage in parts of northern Nigeria is due to the failure to provide schools and opportunities for young girls. Sanusi made these comments during a live television interview on Wednesday as part of a broader conversation on culture, education, and reform. The emir also condemned domestic violence, saying you cannot beat a woman because your culture says you can. Let's take a look.
We have citizens and human beings, and they have rights. Those rights are inviolable. You cannot violate them in the name of a culture. You cannot beat a woman because your culture says you can beat her. She's a Nigerian citizen entitled to protection. It doesn't matter what you think, okay, because these are the values that we live by in this time. You cannot abuse a child. It's all well and good to talk about child marriage. You go to a village in some parts of the north, and there's a primary school, and that's it. So the girl finishes school at 11. Between 11 and 18, what arrangements have you made for her? There's no secondary school. There's no skills center. There is no provision at all for her life. The poor man basically finds that she's 12, 13. He's afraid that she can go and get pregnant on the road, and the next young man that comes, he marries her off. Okay, so you've got to understand that sometimes these cultures basically reflect poverty. It's not about supply, demand, it's also supply for education. Let's build the schools. Let us go and make sure that we have the primary schools, we have the secondary schools, we have the teachers, and then let us see if people do not take their children to those schools.
Sanusi made critical points here. Nigeria has the world's highest number of out-of-school children, while society debates culture and tradition. The real culprit, as the emir has exposed, is state failure. When there are no schools, families have no choice but to marry their girl child off out of desperation and not tradition. The northern elite need to invest in education.
ED. Very well said. We need more traditional leaders like the Emir. He's always been an advocate of education and always been an advocate of education for the girl child in particular. You know, of course, across both boy and girl child. But I think it's important for institutions like the seat of the Emir to come out and speak very boldly about these issues in the North. This is not the first time. On this table, we've often advocated for more infrastructure, social infrastructure, welfare to be directed to the North, and we've asked the question as well around what the governors are doing, especially as when we keep talking about increased FAC allocation, and we keep facing the center, but a lot of these governors are guilty of not serving their communities or serving their people well, especially with the resources at their disposal. disposal. Many of them have access to FAC allocation. Some of them they generate revenue internally, but we don't scrutinize their budgets. They spend the money in a way that beggars belief because a lot of attention is on the center. And so he's spoken very well. Let there be a northern elite consensus to tackle education, and they should give themselves a timeline, and OG will see a considerable advancement in education in the north. And so while we talk about this, also it spills into the issue around insecurity, because if we had the young people engaged and not indoctrinated into false narratives because they have education, we would see a reduction in criminality and criminal activities in the northern part of Nigeria. And so whilst we may scream and shout about how things are bad, the northern Nigeria is unsafe, we must also pay close attention to what dividends of democracy the people in the north are actually enjoying, and how we must not pay lip service to education but actually put our money where our mouth is. Now, talking about the herders who were armed, the truth is that in recent times we've had a proliferation of arms, particularly in certain parts of Nigeria. And so the question I want to ask is, how did a herder, or how can a herder afford to buy a weapon? Some of them even have AK-47s. Investigations have been done, and some of the reasons have been cited. Number one is porous borders. So these arms are gotten illegally from neighboring countries. Number two is the fact that they also have financiers who use these herders because they can conceal the weapon to traffic illegal weapons into Nigeria, and some of them retain these weapons. The truth is that if we want to be serious about tackling these issues, a lot of times we know the reason, we know the solution to be given. It is just a political will or a will to solve the matter. This man has his face unmasked. He's walking freely on the street. Why has he not been apprehended? Because many of us know that he possibly does not have a license to carry that weapon.
I wanted to touch on Emir of Senesi's story.
I wanted to comment on what Sakin Kano said.
Yes.
First about education. Now the northern leaders, emirs, governors, they've been holding meetings since 1957 to address the problem of education out of school children in the northern part. Why is it that since 1957 northern leaders have not been able to solve the problem? So the problem is a failure of leadership. These same leaders of the north, they send their daughters to schools abroad, to elite schools, but they ignore the people. They run a feudalistic system that has survived till today. Now, every effort by the Nigerian government to address the problem has not even worked. In 2014-2013, the Jonathan administration built 165 Amajiri schools in the north to get the children out of the streets. The same northern leaders did not allow the Amajiri school model to work. So when Sakin Kano, Sanusi II says this is a serious problem, it's a serious problem because also the elite in the north have refused to commit to the education of the girl child. Right. They see them as brides.
Right.
Girl child as brides.
Right.
A girl, not a bride. Now quickly on women not to be beaten.
Yes.
There's a law in the country called the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act 2015, which has been adopted by 35 states out of 36. Now, do you know that the states that have refused to gazette that law, they are northern states, most of them. So beating women is a crime.
It is a crime.
Beating a man.
This is
beating a man.
Everyone.
Let me
beating a man is a crime. Beating a woman is a crime.
Violence against persons.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that. We had a bunch of stories to take. We had our good news report featuring Kai Senat, who is the American streamer. We'll take that tomorrow because I'd love to really feature the story properly. We also had the story of Fabio saying that he did not reject the electronic transmission of result, but that was such a big issue because, I mean, what he's saying is really not what we're talking about the fact that real-time results need to be transmitted real-time. This is really what Nigerians are asking for at this point. So hopefully we'll try to take those stories tomorrow. Well, on that note, I'd love to thank you all for your great analysis, as always, on what's trending. But that's all I have for you guys. On what